Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as it is. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Verses and translations. Chapter 4. Transcendental Knowledge. Text 1. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavan Ahamavyayam Vivasvan Manave Praha Manur lksvaku Pravit. The Blessed Lord said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to the sun god Vivasvan, and Vivasvan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind. And Manu, in turn, instructed it to lksvaku. Text 2. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo vidhu sa kalaneha mahata yogo nashta parantapa. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But, in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science, as it is, appears to be lost. Text 3. Sa evayam maya teja yogo prokta paratana bhaktosi me sakacheti rahasyam yetad uttamam. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. Therefore you can understand the transcendental mystery of this science. Text 4. Arjuna Uvacha Aparam bhavato janma param janma vivashvata katam etad vijaniyam tvam ado proktavaniti. Arjuna said, the sun god Vivasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? Text 5. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Bahuni me vyatitani janma tava charjuna tanyaham veda sarvani natvam veta parantapa. The Blessed Lord said, many, many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them, but you cannot, O subduer of the enemy. Text 6. Ajo pisan avyayat ma bhutanam ishvaro pisan prakritim swam adistaya sambhavam yatma bhayaya. Although I am unborn, and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all sentient beings, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. Text 7. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrinjamyaham. Whenever, wherever, there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Text 8. Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma samstar panartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. In order to deliver the pious, and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I advent myself, millennium after millennium. Text 9. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvata chakva dehan punarjanma Naitimam iti Sojuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Text 10. Vita raga bhaya krodha man mayamam upasrita bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavam agata. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me, taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Text 11. Ye yatamam prapadyante tam tataiva pachamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manusya partha sarvasa. All of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Text 12. Kankshanta karmanam siddhim yajanta iha devata shipram hi manuse loke siddhir bhavati karmaja. Men in this world desire success and fruit of activities, and therefore they worship the demigods. Quickly, of course, men get results from fruitive work in this world. Text 13. Chaturvanyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasa tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. According to the three modes of material nature and the work ascribed to them, the four divisions of human society were created by me. And, although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. Text 14. Namam karmani limpanti, na me karma pale spriha, iti mam yo bijanati, karma birna sabhadyate. There is no work that affects me, nor do I aspire for the fruits of action. One who understands this truth about me also does not become entangled in the fruit of reactions of work. Text 15. Evam yatva kritam karma purvair api mumukshubi kuru karmaiva tasma tvam purvai purvataram kritam. All the liberated souls in ancient times acted with this understanding, and so attained liberation. Therefore, as the ancients, you should perform your duty in this divine consciousness. Text 16. Kim karma kim akarmeti kavayopyatra mohita tate karma pravakshami yajatva mokshase shubhat. Even the intelligent are bewildered in determining what is action and what is inaction. Now, I shall explain to you what action is, knowing which you shall be liberated from all sins. Text 17. Karmano yapi bodhavyam cha vikarmana, akarmanas cha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gati. The intricacies of action are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is. Text 18. Karmanya karma ya pasyet, akarmanicha karma ya, sa buddhimam manusheshu, sa yukta kritsna karma krit. One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and he is in the transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities. Text 19. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita dhyanagni dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. One is understood to be in full knowledge, whose every act is devoid of desire for sense gratification. He is said by sages to be a worker whose fruit of action is burned up by the fire of perfect knowledge. Text 20. Chatva karma palasangam nitya tripto narashraya karmanyabi pravritopi naiva kinchit karoti sa. Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings. Text 21. Nirasiryata chitatma chaktva sarva parigraha sariram kevalam karma kurvam natnoti kilbisam. Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions. Text 22. Yadricha labasantushto dvan vatito vimatsara sama siddha vasidocha kritvapina nibadayit. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality, does not envy, who is steady both in success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Text 23. Gata sangasya muktasya jnana vastita chetasa yagna charatara karma samagram pravaliyate. The work of a man who is unattached to the modes of material nature and who is fully situated in transcendental knowledge merges entirely into transcendence. Text 24. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. A person who is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Text 25. Daivam eva pare yagnam yogina paryupashate brahmagno pare yagnam yagne naivo pajuvati. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some of them offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Text 26. Strotra dinindriyanyenye sam yamagnishu juvati labdadin vishayan anya indriyagnishu juvati. Some of them sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of the controlled mind, and others sacrifice the objects of the senses, such as sound, in the fire of sacrifice. Text 27. Sarvanindriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyama yogagno juvati jnana dipite. Those who are interested in self-realization in terms of mind and sense control offer the functions of all the senses as well as the vital force, breath, as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. Text 28. Dravya yagnas tapo yagna yoga yagnas tatapare svadhyaya jnana yagnascha, yataya samsitavrata. There are others who, enlightened by sacrificing their material possessions in severe austerities, take strict vows and practice the yoga of eightfold mysticism. And others study the Vedas for the advancement of transcendental knowledge. Text 29. Apane juvati pranam, prane panam tatapare, prana pana gati rudva, prana yama parayana, apare niyata hara, pranan praneshu juvati. And there are even others who are inclined to the process of breath restraint to remain in trance, and they practice stopping the movement of the outgoing breath into the incoming, and the incoming breath into the outgoing, and thus at last remain in trance, stopping all breathing. Some of them, curtailing the eating process, offer the outgoing breath into itself as a sacrifice. Text 30. Sarve pyete yagna vidho, yagna shapita kalmasa, yagna shista prita bujo, yanti brahma sanatana. All these performers who know the meaning of sacrifice become cleansed of sinful reaction, and having tasted the nectar of the remnants of such sacrifice, they go to the supreme eternal atmosphere. Text 31. Nyayam lokosti ayanasya kutonya kurushatama. O best of the Kuru dynasty, without sacrifice, one can never live happily on this planet or in this life. What then of the next? Text 32. Evam bahu vidha yagna, vitata brahmano mukhe, karma jan viditan sarvan, evam yatva vimokshase. All these different types of sacrifice are approved by the Vedas, and all of them are born of different types of work. Knowing them as such, you will become liberated. Text 33. Shreyan dravya mayad yagnad, jnana yagna parantapa, sarvam karma kilam partha, jnane paris amapyate. O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice of knowledge is greater than the sacrifice of material possessions. O son of Pritha, after all, the sacrifice of work culminates in transcendental knowledge. Text 34. Tad vidhi pranipatina, pariprasnena sevaya, upadekshanti te jnanam, jnaninas tadvadarshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Text 35. Yajatva na punarmoha evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutan isheshani drakshyas yatman yatomayi. And when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. Text 36. Api chid asipapebhya sarvebhya papakritama sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrijinam shantarishyasi. Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries. Text 37. Yataidam si samidognir, Bhasmasat Kuruterjuna. Jnanagni Sarvakarmani. Bhasmasat Kurute Tata. As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities. Text 38. Nahi jnanena sadvisham pavitramiha vidyate tat svayam yogasam siddha kalinatmani vindati. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself in due course of time. Text 39. Shradava labhate jnanam tatpara samyatendriya jnanam labdva param shantim achiranadi gacchati. A faithful man who is absorbed in transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. Text 40. Agyas cha shrad dadanas cha samsayatma vinasiti nyayam lokosti naparo nasukam samsayatmana. But the ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. Text 41. Yogo sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchina samsayam atmavantam na karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya. Therefore, one who has renounced the fruits of his action, whose doubts are destroyed by transcendental knowledge, and who is situated firmly in the self, is not bound by works, O conqueror of riches. Text 42. Tasmad ajnana sambhutam ritstam jnana sinatmana chitvainam samsayam yogam atishta tishta bharata. Therefore, the doubts which have arisen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight.